I apologize for a slightly later start than I said on Twitter, but we're here now, and I'm doing a game that probably some of you weren't expecting tonight, Against the Storm. I just need to take a second and make sure that we're tagged up properly. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I know it's a little irritating to have somebody babble on at the start, but I do have some details to take care of. Okay. Mostly looking good. Now, I believe this is the first stream with the new setup, which is exciting for me, but also carries with it some potential drawbacks. So number one, I'm going to need to make sure that all of my windows and settings are up and running. But number two, if I think all of my volume and all of those other settings are not quite where they used to be. So if there is, I don't know, if there's anything that could be working better for you, let's say, just let me know respectfully, and I will do my best to adjust them. And I'll also explain why I'm doing Against the Storm. Hey, that's all working. All right. What's new? The Royal Archaeologist update. Earn generous rewards for unearthing ancient skeletons. We introduce a new unique biome mechanic and visual revamp of the Scarlet Orchard. A new essential building is now available when playing in the Scarlet Orchard, the Archaeologist's office. The update also includes multiple fixes and improvements inspired by your feedback. I'm actually going to take a quick second here to make a couple of adjustments to my screens. I don't want this to be a full maintenance broadcast, but there are some things that I can do to make life a little bit easier for me, and hopefully produce a better broadcast for everyone. Interesting. Okay. That gives me something to... I think that gives me something to work with. One thing that I noticed, for whatever reason, the... I'm not able to change the settings on the stream itself inside of OBS anymore. So I have to fumble around a little bit for all of the just all of the stuff that I'm used to looking at. But let's take a minute here and talk about this game, why I'm streaming it, and get all the usual kind of disclosures and disclaimers out of the way. So this is a game that's published by Hooded Horse. It is developed by, I think it's pronounced Aramite Games. There should be some credits here somewhere. Normally they're under settings, but... It dropped fully formed out of the out of the sky. In any case, Hooded Horse very kindly sent along a key, and it was actually a game that I was aware of because I'm fairly certain it's the president of Hooded Horse now, but Chumsky on Twitter had been talking about this game, and it certainly looked really interesting to me, so it was one that I sort of had my eye on, and when the opportunity came to broadcast it, I certainly jumped at it. Now, you may notice that the last couple of streams on Friday, so I used to be playing Against the Storm on Fridays, and unfortunately the last couple of Fridays it has been a ghost because I've been a ghost. And that has been entirely because of some computer upgrades. So the good news is I now have an updated PC. I am considerably poorer, but everything is up and running. And in fact, that is the reason why I wasn't here on Friday. So normally on Monday I play another Hooded Horse game, Terra Invicta. We will still be doing Terra Invicta usually on Mondays, but in this case here, because it had been a couple of weeks where I had not done Against the Storm, and also, I just noticed the tendency, I was starting to get a little crabby during Terra Invicta just because of an increased amount of backseating. So today, I sort of felt like I needed a little bit of a reset. This is a game that I wanted to be spending some more time on anyway, so I figured a little bit of a break from Terra Invicta and a chance to catch up with Against the Storm again was a nice way of sort of matching both of those priorities. But with that in mind, obviously, I am very interested in Hooded Horse's games, and I'm certainly very happy that they have, reached out and given me some keys to sort of help show off their stuff with. But as always, if you are watching somebody who's sort of been given something of value for, in order to cover it, obviously I have been given a key in order to do some, I guess what would count as press coverage. It's one of those things you want to disclose off the top, which I have now done. So naturally, I hope all of you... Actually, this is one that I noticed after the first couple of streams. It's kind of funny, actually, to see the waves. So I know there was a few of you who... I won't name names, but there were definitely a few of you who picked this up after the first time I did this. And maybe you'd heard it from somewhere else. Obviously, there's no, we don't have, the Facebook pixel or anything like that hiding in your viewing habits. But I was delighted to see that a few people pick this up, because it's a really interesting take on the city builder. It's been described as a roguelike city builder, or roguelite. I'm going to just continue calling it roguelike because that's how I roll. But I think what really caught me was how I didn't really understand the production that well. But it gave me... I mean, this is the way to win my heart with a game. It gave me an opportunity to get clever. And probably I wasn't being very clever, but I felt very clever. And so basically, as long as you can make me feel smart, I'm going to love your game. I think that's the lesson that I've learned. So with that in mind, I'm feeling a little bit more secure in terms of how the game works. I haven't necessarily been able to achieve a few of the goals. So for instance, I find it rather difficult to keep people happy. But that hasn't necessarily stopped me from being able to achieve my goals. And so whether or not I pursue happiness is a whole other question. But those are the sorts of things that, because I feel like I've got a little bit more of a grip on how the world sort of works, I feel like I'm going to be able to build on that and maybe try and approach some of the problems in a different and creative way. But with all of that, oh Jesus! Sorry, just one second here. Alright, anyways, it's been about 10 minutes. Let's jump into the game and see whether or not we can make any progress on the overworld. So, for those of you unfamiliar with the game, I actually, for some reason, I keep thinking about The Three Body Problem, a science fiction novel from China. It's part of a trilogy. I've only read the first one. I do want to read the follow. Actually, this game specifically has got me wanting to read the follow-ups, but we'll deal with that later. Let's read some of the details. So, the Blightstorm cycle. The world of Against the Storm is governed by an eternal cycle. Every few decades, a cataclysm known as the Blightstorm occurs and wipes the entire world map clean. The only safe haven is the smoldering city. The calendar at the bottom of the screen shows how much time is left before the next Blightstorm. The bar slowly fills up with every settlement that you complete or abandon. The amount of time passed is based on the number of years you spend in a given town. How interesting! So, in theory, you could actually do a whole lot of small settlements in a really quick period of time before the next storm. I'm gonna have to take a look into that. So that explains why there's so much time. Interesting. When the bar at the bottom of the screen reaches the end, you will no longer be able to establish new settlements. The only thing you can do is complete the cycle by clicking on the highlighted button next to the calendar. Once the Blightstorm starts, the world map reshapes itself, settlements are destroyed, biomes are regenerated, and modifiers appear in new places. Alright, I'm definitely going to have to see. So I wonder if implicitly there is some kind of a... I'm wondering if there's just this implicit goal where you want to achieve a certain number of things. So like if you take a look at this map, right, this is enormous. There's no possible way that we're going to cover this before the storm comes. But I'm wondering if there's some sort of a goal that you're supposed to do, like maybe break the cycle or something before the... before you hit the end. We'll definitely figure that out as time goes by. But what I want to work on right now is there were actually some goals. I don't know if we have that in our... not here. Okay, win 3 games. We're on our way there. Collect reputation points. So what I'm really looking for here are things related to biomes. So coral forests, barren lands. So this is the coral forest. Marshlands, I think we've already handled, no? Maybe we haven't. So we have an option here, here. I think we worked this out last time. What I do want to do is maximize the amount of food that I get from this. So let's try the coral forest. So coral forest, the true source of the coral's growth is unknown. Contrary to popular belief, it doesn't usually appear in flooded regions. The unique influence of the coral mutates trees into distinctive strands that offer various resources. So I can change some of these. So severity mild, diverse flora, vegetation here mutates into unique strands. Each type of tree provides different bonus resources. And inspiring pressure. The forest is as scary as it is beautiful. Villagers have a 5% chance of earning bonus yields from production and gathering from each hostility level. Oh, that's a really interesting... I like this biome, actually, now that I think of it, because of the... just like the kind of the push and pull of the... This is actually one thing that's true for Against the Storm. It definitely feels like it's... Actually, I guess the comparison I would make would be Darkest Dungeon, where not like everything is not necessarily like in terms of Darkest Dungeon, there are very few items that will give you a pure bonus. But it's also true that they like very rarely will those. It's also true that the items like the net is a benefit, and what it means is that you just have to make some tough choices. What I like a little bit more about Against the Storm here is that, like, for Inspiring Presence, like, this is... The focus is more on the positive. I tended to feel in the case of Darkest Dungeon, I would always sort of feel that there was, like, a hard choice because it was penalizing me for something. Whereas this one, this is more like, hey, you get a nice thing, and the harder things get, you get this sort of backup. There's it's not all bad. There's this offsetting effect, which I don't know. Like it feels both are fair, but this one just naturally feels a bit fairer to me. So we did Settler before. Now I think I tried Veteran before. So apparently punishing seasonal conditions as opposed to taxing. But do I feel brave enough to go for... So Settlers 12, Pioneers 14. Definitely some big bonuses if I go for this. I don't think I want to try Viceroy yet. Let's give it a shot. I'm definitely going to need to make sure that I keep my... I need to make sure that my food stores are in good shape. Now, generally, I found diversity of races is better. I kind of wish I could mouse over, and I don't recall what bonuses the... I don't even know what race this is, actually. I'm not quite sure what bonuses these give, but I'm not 100%... I don't know, like 9 settlers as opposed to 8 is nice. And then there's just something nice about having having diversity as well. Oh, but we get newcomers, so this would actually give me a net of 10. So that complicates things a little bit. I do get simple tools. So we get coal and wood, crystallized dew. I think I'm still gonna... it's a difference of 1 settler, but the diversity, I think, kind of trumps my other considerations. Now, I can add eggs for additional food. Eggs and roots actually would... Actually, yeah, that's... That's my best bet, because I am definitely going to struggle with food. Okay, so we've chosen to embark with extra food. We've gone for a diverse group of settlers. And I think the first set of things I'm going to consider, I want to take a look at the area and see what, what's immediately available to me and what kind of a settlement I can build based off of it. Also, this is a beautiful looking environment. So, fresh breeze, forest mystery, conditional, refreshing gust of air lifts the spirit. Those with their basic needs taken care of are more willing to work. Active during the drizzle season, active from hostility 0. Villages with this effect move 20% faster. That's good. To gain it, fulfill the following needs: complex food and housing. Then the negative effects. Looming darkness, the rampaging storm stifles the spirit of all living creatures. An additional stack of this effect is added for each hostility level, -4 to global resolve. So this is going to mean that I have to worry about departures as the hostility grows. Once we hit hostility 1, we now have fog. A veil of moisture obscures vision. It is hard to walk in these conditions. Villagers with this effect move 40% slower, so it's going to be really hard to work during the fog. Under an open sky, this is again not a hostility 1 event. Sorry, if you can just give me a quick second here, I need to just double check something. Just forgot to let somebody know I was streaming. Okay, villagers with this effect have soaked clothes and get a -5 penalty to their resolve. Now, it looks like this can be prevented with housing. I didn't take a look. Okay, yeah, so in both of these cases, housing prevents this. Rot from the sky. The rain smells like blight rot. Global food production is 15% slower, and this effect scales with hostility. So once we hit hostility 3, I really need to make sure that I've got my food production down. Finally, cold snap, again from hostility 3. All of these are active during the storm, but like the storm is going to be really tough. A sudden drop in temperature can cause extreme hunger. Villagers with this effect have a plus 50% chance of consuming double the amount of food during a break. To prevent it, fulfill the following needs: complex food. So yeah, definitely the food consideration is overriding. Sorry, I just need to double check my settings. Video should be fun. Whoa! No. I don't know if that practically changed anything, but there we go. Blight rot and corruption. So this is the first time we're going to have to deal with blight rot. Every recipe in a production building has a blight rot footprint. This indicates how much pollution will be emitted by creating a given item. This pollution accumulates, and when it reaches a certain threshold, blight rot cysts will start appearing on a building. The exact amount of accumulated blight rot can be seen in the blight rot tab in a given building's UI panel. Each cyst lies dormant at first, which brings some positive side effects with it, but during the storm, blight rot cysts wake up and start to corrupt the ancient hearth, indicated by the progress bar above the hearth and in the hearth's UI after selecting it. Once the progress bar reaches the end, a negative effect will trigger, killing a number of your villagers. The more blight rot cysts are active, the faster the corruption progresses. To combat this blight rot, you will need to build blight posts and create a resource called Purging Fire. Blight rot cysts are invulnerable for most of the year, but during the storm they open up and become vulnerable. That's when blight fighters can go around the settlement and burn them down. Removing a cyst will not only slow down the corruption process, but also remove a bit of the already accumulated corruption from the hearth. The ancient hearth can also be reinforced by building and upgrading other smaller hearths in your settlement. So essentially, by raising the difficulty, we've added another sort of expense in order to be able to produce certain items. So basically, I think it calls it pollution, actually. Okay, now let's figure out what the harpies want. I was going to say elves, but harpies are a noble and fragile species, yet with a primal aggressive side. They excel at alchemy and love to work with cloth. So definitely this is not an ideal set of workers for the start, but we'll work with what we've got. Before I do anything, I'm going to put down some woodcutter's camp. And the ideal here, of course, is going to be to get access to as much as many of these glades as I can. Okay, so I got a couple of ideas about how to work this. That one's dangerous, and that one we can't reach. I also want to collect the eggs. Yeah, so that's a scavenger's camp there. What else? We do want to build houses at some point, but of course if we can... So there's so much forest right now that we can clear out. Well, I should probably build the houses sooner rather than later. Let's also just take a quick look at needs before I go too far. So humans like shelter, jerky, biscuits, pies... Harpies like jerky, skewers, and biscuits. So jerky and biscuits are the two... Jerky and biscuits are like the two primary food items that I want to focus on. So we can get a forager's camp, an herb garden, plantation, or a small farm. You know, before I do any of this... I feel like a small farm is a good place to start because we're going to need the grain for the biscuits. So the scribe would be tempting because of the harpy connection. Well, so would the weaver now that I think of it. But I feel like the lumber mill is going to be better equipped for what I actually want, which will be planks. So I'm going to start with the lumber mill. Definitely smokehouse, because we know... Well, actually, so this is the tricky one, right? The smokehouse will give me jerky at a really good rate, but the cookhouse can get me skewers and biscuits, which are two that I want. I think we're still going to focus on specialization, though, so smokehouse. Okay, so to build a smokehouse, we're going to need planks and fabric. Right now we can produce the planks with the lumber mill. Well, we can once we have bricks, but... Okay, that gives me a start. And then let's build as many shelters as we can. So what? Why do I have 15 humans now? So I guess I need to build 7 houses. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep an empty... Yeah, we'll put an empty spot. Does that... It's a start. And then we can put down some roads. We don't necessarily have to keep it this way, but gives me a start. Okay, so lots of building gonna happen at the start, but we've got lots of people to build, so. And we'll assign people as soon as possible to the woodcutters camp. Okay. Oh, okay, I get it now. We don't have 15 humans. We have 15 contentment. Should have been paying attention to this. Okay, so we definitely do not need a lot of this stuff. Okay, so we're at 5 and 4, so that's 9, so we just need 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. We'll work with this for now. We may change it. So we won't have enough people for everything that we want to do. Oh, actually, we have just enough. So this means there's not going to be any construction that happens. Actually, we'll hold off on 1. So we'll keep building the paths. But right now we just want to acquire some wood. Choose a cornerstone, the Queen's envoy. No one can weather the storm alone. The Queen offers you a cornerstone that will lay the foundations for your town's prosperity. Choose wisely, as you won't be able to change it. So we can get a route delivery line. So this is a tough one. Because 3 routes per minute does actually seem kind of nice. And then flame amulets, an artifact infused with the power of the holy flame. Hostility from woodcutters is decreased by 8. I think I'm going to try and go for rapid acquisitions. Okay, an herb node, which is nice. Reed field, very common plant. It thrives thanks to magical rain. And a small encampment here, so if we give 8 vegetables, we can get new people or amber. And we definitely want to bring in new people, but I need vegetables first. So the question is, if I've got a... Okay, so it looks like we can't build a farm field out of any of that. Now, one of the challenges here is I want to try and get... Oh, actually, I don't want to get in here. What am I saying? I think what I'm going to do then is I will chop up whatever I can just to collect. Okay, orders. This may be a little early for me to pick, but we can complete a Glade event or we can sell goods. This gets me more people. Oh yeah, this is definitely for me. Get an ancient tablet. That comes from the rare locations. Now, this is pretty good for getting skewers. Alternatively, scavenger camp, stonecutters camp, and bricks. Now, that's realistic for us to achieve. Yeah, we are... Oh, actually, the bricks are... The bricks are the real question mark on that. I think I am going to go for relics after all. And then human resolve. Keep human resolve above 22 for 30 seconds. That gives us 2 additional humans. Alternatively, cut through the forest to discover 2 glades and rebuild or salvage ruins. So tricky one. +1 to stone production, +1 to clay production, and tools. I think we're going to try and keep the humans happy. I think we're going to get an idea of how screwed we are based on what we find inside of these glades. One of our big goals is going to be a minimum get the shelter up, because once the rain arrives, we're already at hostility level 1, so that's going to have some consequences for us just in terms of it'll have some consequences for us as far as just the negative effects that arrive when the storm comes in. So right now we're getting a bonus to our movement, which is good, but we want to leverage that bonus into being able to clear out as much of the area as we can. So we have the shelter. The next thing we need to worry about is complex food. Now we need 8 villagers to be housed within the range of the hearth. That will happen. And then we need 4 comfort decorations to be built within the range of the hearth. So that is definitely something that we can do. Fertile soil, so that's going to be good for making the biscuits. And small encampment, again, we need vegetables for that, but we won't worry too much about it in its current form. So I'm going to need to move around the humans a little bit, and I think I'm going to build vegetables first, just because this will help us out with the 2 villages. So if we build the small farm here, what do we need? We need planks for that, so I'm going to have to build some more. Some more structures. So in order to be able to build a lumber mill, we need bricks and fabric. But if we build a crude workstation, we should be able to manage. We don't want to rely too heavily on the crude workstation, but... Oh yes, I also forgot, the rain collector actually winds up being pretty helpful. For now, let's build we'll build the workstation kind of out of the way. Just a chance for me to get the ancient hearth upgraded. That, unfortunately, I didn't want. I forgot to clean that up. Okay, so again, everybody's going to run off and sort of do their own thing. I definitely want to keep the food store. I want to keep the food stock where it needs to be. So I'm going to have at least one harpy working on all of this, but once I have to, so basically, once everything's sort of planted, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to redirect the harpy towards things like, building refined goods. Actually, we're going to clear out another glade, I think. It's also getting pretty clear that I'm going to want to move where I'm going to want to move these woodcutters' camps before too long. Because right now we're not going to be unlocking any new glades. But it's not that hard for us to get to some more. In fact, this is almost an ideal location because it'll get us 2 more. However, I do also want to collect just good old-fashioned wood and work that. Okay. So, we need clay for bricks. Now, I don't think we have any clay. We do have a stone deposit. And again, they want vegetables. Actually, that will give us a beaver, so... Okay, we can work with stone. So, let's get the harpies working the crude workstation first. And that's purely going to be... Oh, hang on. Right, that's going to be so that I can build the lumber mill. This is also going to be a polluter. Alright, so this is where everybody's going to start feeling sad. Oof. Yeah, we're already down to -2 with the harpies. I'm not going to play favorites. I am going to hope that we can weather the storm. Okay, they're getting ready to leave. Yeah, we're not gonna unless I play favorites. It's not going to be a permanent state of affairs, but it gets me through this storm. Okay. So, there's a few things we need to attend to. So first of all, Proven Runebeak. These people have been sent here by the Crown. Which group do you want to stay, Viceroy? The other will continue on to the next settlement. So the beavers are by far the most useful to me right now. So that's going to allow us to free up some woodcutters. We are going to need to build some more housing, but that's not that hard for us to do. This also gives us an opportunity to build a new farm. So one of the things that I want to do is move... I want to get right in there if we can. Okay, so this is the ideal placement for me right now. The reason is that this is going to clear out some more farmland for me. It's also going to give me access to this glade here. I can't really deal with any of the other ones just because of the danger. Now these guys I'm not 100% sure about yet. We'll figure this out, but essentially it's worth remembering that I'm working this right now because I would like to build bricks. Once I have a certain amount of bricks. Oops. Once I have a certain number of bricks, actually I can create that limit now. Looks like we're already out of stone, so I suspect the time has come. Oh, actually, yeah, it just occurred to me that we're probably also stockpiling fabric as well. So let's just cancel everybody there, and we'll get the harpies working on collection. We don't have the fabric for... Okay, so I do actually want to... I do actually want to make the fabric after all. Oops. We're just going to rethink this whole setup. I also probably need to move all of this over by one. Just hitting M for the adjustments. Okay, let's throw every human we can here. And the priority is going to be vegetables for the start. It's actually better for producing grain, but I want to focus on vegetables first because that's going to be how we pass the encampment. Okay, how are we doing for fabric? So we'll kick the harpies out for now. Okay, and we do have enough fabric to be able to put down a lumber mill. So ideally the lumber mill goes outside of this, this hearth. So we'll stick that right here for now. Again, the priority's got to be clearing out this farming tile. Once we do that, then we can start clearing out this glade, and we can start sort of just helping the area breathe a little bit. Okay, no one can weather the storm alone. The Queen offers you a cornerstone that will lay the foundation of your town's prosperity. Choose wisely, as you won't be able to change it. Ancient Pact, the cost of knowledge can be very high. You can see the content of undiscovered glades, but discovering dangerous or forbidden glades will kill one villager. We definitely don't want that one. And Rebellious Spirit, the people are feeling oddly rebellious. Gain +1 global resolve for every 2 impatience points. So we are going to pick that one. That might help turn things in our favor. So, more orders. We can trade, or we can go for dangerous glades. Now, as tempting as it is to get some more harpies, and then also harpy resolve, I don't really know about trade. I do know we can handle dangerous glades, though, so I'm going to pick that. And then we need 10 coal and pack a building. Okay, so we have to do the trades now. So the question is, do I go for the tools and wildfire essence, or do I go... I think in this case we're going to go for the harpies. And again, I have some options to get those trading goods. It's just, it's a shame that I chose against one only to find out that I needed to do it anyway. Build a lumber mill at some point, but we're not in a rush. Right now we just need to clear out the woods. Getting close on that human resolve. I just don't think we have anything to really push it over the edge yet, so I don't really want to follow up on that yet. Anyway, we'll see where it goes in a little while. So unfortunately we didn't get the farm built at the time that we wanted, but that's fine. We'll work on that. It is worth also considering. So again, I'm trying to keep my harpies and my humans happy. Unfortunately, the beavers I don't believe like jerky, so they're going to be a little hard to keep to keep content. But the aim is going to be to build a smokehouse at some point. Now for that I need planks and fabric. Now unfortunately I've used the last of my fibers for fabric. So I'm either going to need to wait for another, basically another building, or I'm going to have to trade for it. Right now we'll just see what the lay of the land is for sort of the rest of the run, or for the rest of the season. We should be getting at least a couple more humans when all is said and done. In fact, on that note, so beavers would be nice. Yeah, I think beavers are our priority right now. So, how is our food storage? Currently non-existent. Make a little more sense. I do want to clear this out, but I want to get to the new glade above all, because that may mean access to more food. Okay, we've got 10 vegetables now, so we want to lock that in. So let's direct a human towards it. Oh, actually, we can give them any kind of food. So eggs are renewable, and I don't think we use that as an input to anything. So let's start with that. In fact, actually it just occurred to me that we're going to get a bunch of people show up in the middle of a nasty storm. Scouts are idle in the small encampment. What's going on here? Oh. Yeah, this may not be a time that I actually want to be bringing in a ton of people, but let's work with what we got. Okay, so... Oh no, I shouldn't have used the vegetables. That sucks. So that should be a total of 6 people that are arriving, so let's get the housing in place. Yeah, so a couple people already affected by that. But they should also become builders pretty quick. So now we're going to change this to grain. The challenge is that we need to refine the grain, but we'll do our best. Okay, everybody's housed, so we're in better shape than we were. And maybe now we want to think about who's assigned to what. So... Again, it pains me to do this, but let's get the harpies working on fabric again. And I feel like we should have beavers working at the woodcutter camp when I can. So one of the things that's interesting about the way that this this game's sort of working out is that where I would normally kind of let all my production just constantly run no matter what, there is actually a cost to this now with Blight Rot. So I need to be a little more careful in terms of how I'm producing certain items. There's also a side of me that thinks maybe we try and go for one of these dangerous glades. So I also eventually want to clear this area out, but we have other priorities right now. Okay, what's your story here? More fertile soil, which is good. Also a snake nest, so we can put farm. So I'm gonna want to move the whatchamacallit, the woodcutters camp at some point. Oh, also we can bring more people in. So it also occurred to me that clearing glades, we should have turned that in. So your renown grows. You can now choose from one of the available blueprints that the Queen offers you. So we can get a kiln, a cooperage, a provisioner. Provisioner will allow me to make flour, or a trapper's camp. This is also very difficult to choose. I think a bird in the hand so far as the flour is concerned, so we'll go for provisioner for starters. Still need more beavers. So 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, yeah, so this is the better option for me. Also gives us a few more vegetables if I so choose. Now we do need to worry about our housing situation. So we've got a total of 4. Really? 9? That's unexpected. Anyway, simple enough to solve. You can see why I want to clear out the woods in this area here. Okay, so one of the ways that we can stave off some of the ill effects are having complex foods. So this is where the smokehouse becomes a priority. But I need more planks for that, so right now we're going to leave the harpies here. What I maybe am going to do is build another woodcutters camp just so they can clear out this area here. It's not a high priority. Too many people doing all sorts of things. I think we're going to do a combination of vegetable. Actually, let's just do vegetables here, so that we have something to eat if we wind up in a tough spot. And given that we've got 12 people building now, I feel like we should be doing some more collections. So let's start by taking the stonecutters camp. Okay, and we can move that scavengers camp, but we'll give that a minute. Okay, so this is really more about finding things for people to do. Gotta think about other resources that we can exploit. More stones. Oh yes, the smokehouse. Maybe we hold off on the production of planks for a little while. And then we can employ those beavers. I suppose I should also consider the provisioner at some point, although maybe the grain isn't the most important thing for me to work on right now. Alright, well, now is the time to... So I'm going to clear out these, and we're going to work pretty aggressively on getting into this dangerous glade if we can. And I think we should say the same story for this one. We'll basically race to see which one goes in first, and then we cancel the other one. So, metallurgic proficiency, all recipes that use metal or ore will be produced 33% faster, or Firekeeper's armor allows Firekeepers to combat corruption more effectively. Every burned cis removes an additional 50 corruption. Not clear that we're going to use that yet, but it's good for me to keep an eye on. And more orders. Oh, People's Resolve. Let's deliver that. Got more unemployment to worry, or more homelessness to worry about, but we'll take care of that. Now, cosmetics, that's going to be a tough one. And a bathhouse, Jesus. So, I'm going to try bathing, and this is a really, really tricky one for me to consider. Because +1 to biscuit production is good. That's something that we actually want. But we don't really have a way of getting cosmetics or a bathhouse. And then advanced logistics, so spark dew and 2 rain collectors, or cut through the forest to discover 5 glades. So this is not a hard one for me to achieve. I think this is an easier one for me to achieve, so... Ah, well, the rain mill will let me produce flour. Well, I did already go for the provisioner, but I'm going to pick up the rain mill. Oh, and we got into a dangerous glade. So, let's see what we're up against here. Incense. Okay. Or I can try building scrolls within 10 minutes. I figure something that can potentially kill my people is not... yeah, this is such a tough one. So to build scrolls, I would need pig... Yeah, there's no way we're building scrolls in time, so I think we have to sadly give up our simple tools, and then we'll just have to trade for the rest. So, but we are going to send to the Citadel. Okay. And we're going to focus on clearing out pretty much everything, actually, but special focus here. This is definitely due to be moved fairly soon. I've said this about this game before. I love the fact that I always feel like I'm about to lose. It definitely keeps me on my toes. I suppose I should build a trading post at some point, and now is as good as any other. Also, I apparently forgot to build another shelter. Also didn't realize there was another chance for me to build a farm here. So that's tempting, but I'm going to focus on a few other things before I build another farm. It's maybe not so obvious to me that we're in need of... it's not so obvious to me that we're in need of more farms. If anything, we need a source of meat. Okay, now we needed a pack of building materials and a pack of crops. So definitely we can build these. And for that we will get the mill back up and running. So I think the difficulty is going to be ramped. Oh Jesus, the harpies are already on the verge of rebellion. And unfortunately, I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Because if I favor them, then that's going to drop the beavers into rebellion. So it's one or the other. I suppose it's better to lose a beaver than a harpy because we're not really satisfying any of the beaver's needs. But I don't know. I think we'll take the hit and do our best. Oh, now the beavers are mad about it. So what gives? Cooperage, cookhouse. Well, that gets me my biscuits. That building's enormous. So my hope here is that we're able to push off the angst with but we need bricks for that. Also herbs. Or no, we can use roots. That's fine. Okay, so there's a few things that I need to build. So first of all, I need planks and bricks. We can probably get the bricks from the crude workstation. And then I also need the rain mill. It's planks and fabric, so that's not so clear that we're going to be able to satisfy that. Really close to someone leaving. And I guess this is a permanent effect now. I've never actually seen that. Oh no, this is gluttonous maybe? Okay, so we did lose one harpy. Fair enough. I was hoping we might be able to push through, but so now apparently the post, I always thought that meant a trader was coming in, so maybe I'm mistaken on Scavenger's Camp has no deposit, so we'll see if we can get away with moving that. Also new arrivals, 4, 5, both are 5. More beavers from this one. We also get fibers, which we need. Okay. Can I make any use of the Scavenger's Camp? Yes. Lots of eggs here. So it's a basic food source, but it's better than nothing. So, what can I do about trade? Apparently nothing. Kind of put that in the hearth area, but we can work that out later. Moving on though, let's move these guys. Okay, so there's two things I'm gonna do. One, we clear this out. I don't think we can quite reach here. Then we're going to try and go for the scary place as well. Again, we're basically going to do the same race that we did before. As soon as we unlock one of the spooky glades, we cancel out the other. And once again, I need to clear out I need to house people. Now, we do have some idle hands, so first things first, we'll get the beavers to work. Next up, let's find some more jobs for my people to work. So yeah, if nothing else, I should be putting down some more camps to collect things. Well, I suppose I can put down another farm. Actually, it would probably not be a bad idea to prepare, because I'm actually getting a proper... I'm sort of getting a proper settlement with, like, construction, or with, because I'm building, like, a proper camp with ongoing production, I should probably start combating the blight, so... We'll work with that, and then... I guess at this point it's just a question in terms of which of these... Oh, hang on, we've done our building material work. I'm really tempted to just build another farm here. But I think it would be better for me to put down a woodcutter's camp. So that I can just sort of clear out the remaining obstacles. Again, anything that's basically in this sort of surrounding area needs to go, so that I can start properly putting down my different settlement buildings and such. Okay, so the cookhouse, that should really be about biscuits. Now, am I going nuts? Yep, nope, that's right. Skewers, I mean, I'm happy enough with skewers because that'll make the harpies happy. I just don't think it's likely that we're gonna, like, until we find a good source of insects, we may as well not exist for us. Oh, and we can make a pack of crops. So let's use grain for that. Get a couple humans working it. So just as a kind of a recap in terms of some of our goals right now. So it turns out we can complete pack of crops, so that's good. We are on our way to completing a dangerous glade. It's really just a question of which one we get to first. And then, so that's 2. And then assuming we can clear out 4 more glades, it's 3. Potentially 4 if we can get the ancient tablet. Crowded houses, all houses have room for 1 more villager, and we already know we're not doing an ancient pack, so that's going to save us some resources in the long run. Alright, so, threats in 10 minutes. Okay, so we either give them resin, which we don't have, or planks, which we do. So we definitely need to make sure that the planks are... Yeah, well, we're working on those as quickly as we can, so... what's our plank stockpile like right now? 3. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to... doesn't make a lot of sense for me to start working this until I have the resources that I need. Oh, chest of ancient tablets. So I was thinking send to the Citadel, but we actually get a lot more if we keep the goods and then turn in an ancient tablet for relics. So again, I'm not going to work this until we have the planks. But we better hope our people like get on with it. So we're up to 13. What's the stockpile like? Okay, yeah, we're ready to go. So I'm gonna get them to force deliver. Now we get rid of... What's the stockpile looking like? We'll build a 5th. Okay, so spike you 2. So we've got the working effects here, but we know that we're going to cover it all in time. Okay, so we're short the fabric, so we can get a couple people working on those now. We've got all the bricks that we need. Starting to tempt fate a little bit with some of the... I really need to remember to start putting limits on this stuff, so let's go for 2. And new order. Ah, okay, well we can already deliver Risky Expedition, so we'll deliver that. Sell 60 amber worth to trader. Now we don't really seem to be able to do... Ah, this is a tough one. Because like in one sense I want the box of simple tools, but it's not at all clear to me that we can get any trade done. So let's just see... Let's see if I'm missing something obvious here. So... Oh yeah, trading post. Okay, and bathhouse is pretty obvious for us. So a place where villagers can fulfill their need for cleanliness, passive effects, regular baths, good health. I'm sure. Now, Weaver would have been nice too, although we don't have a source for fibers right now. But I'm going to work with a bathhouse because that was one of the for bathing here, and then 40 cosmetics. Scouts are idle in the cemetery. Is that because we haven't given them enough planks? We definitely start putting down some proper paths again, so let's go. Quite look as pretty as I wanted it, but it'll do. Oof! Man! That one hurts. So again, I think this time we're really just hoping we don't lose too much this time around. I think I had some extra people working. So I feel like this is the point we get people chasing away the blight rot. God, we need so many tools. And then maybe we'll pull someone away from stone collection. We're going to lose quite a few people, I think. Probably mostly due to this, but... Alright, replacements. Oh, nope, sorry. Gain 1 ancient tablet for every 2 completed Glade events. Or add 2 leather production... Well, let's go for the tablets. Did lose a beaver and a harpy. Let's go for these. Let's make sure also, okay, crude workstation will abandon the work. We have no homelessness, which is good. So let's just make sure we have everybody working the jobs that I want them to. Okay. We can get roots and herbs from an herb garden. Forager's camp is not bad either. I think in this case we'll go for the garden because that is something that we can actually use for production. Now again, I have no idea how we're going to turn that into, how we're going to wind up with cosmetics at some point, but we'll worry about that later. For now, I want to be able to oh, we have a trader already. Okay. So we need to trade 60 goods worth. I also need to make packs of crops at some point, but okay, so let's think about the sort of stuff that I need. I guess I use fabric and bricks are kind of hard to come by. Fabric more so. So if I go for 30 there, we can give them 20 amber. Oh wow, they really like that. So we also can use roots and herbs. Well, yeah, the bricks are probably more important to me, to be honest. That's really close. Oh, and we have 7 tools, so I may want to figure out what I can do with that. Now, what's the most valuable? So I may be able to part with some parts. I think I'm just going to part with some grain. So we certainly have a surplus. And we can go for a Trappist camp, which would be good for insects. Forager's camp, also good for insects. So let's see whether or not I can actually get any insects from anything first. But for starters, let's do the trade. Oh, darn it. So I'm going to need even more for goods sold. Well, I'll just find something that we've got a huge surplus for. And so it seems to be it's an individual number of items that we need to give up. So let's start with... oh wait, no, we're trying to determine if we can get insects from any of this. Also, sadly, we're short of the tools that we need for any of this. Okay. So yeah, no obvious sources of insects. So probably I should be a little bit more cautious with my resources. So, let's focus instead on selling, so 29 goods. See if we can push that a little bit more in our favor. Nope. Plank won't hurt, actually. Perfect. Okay. So still working on packs of crops.
Yeah.
And I think... Wait, what? 35 out of 60 good... Okay, looks like I'm going to need to be a bit more of a trader. I guess they're looking for high-value items, so... Can't give up the building materials. Fabric is actually pretty precious for me. I don't want to trade too much of the grain. Although I guess if I get flour in return, that's not as bad. I haven't had that much use for leather. I'll keep some in reserve, but I may even just buy the amber back. Well, yeah, I guess that doesn't make that much sense if I'm... Well, no, it makes sense because that still counts in the... for the trade. Okay, so now I gotta find 10 more to sell. So one thing I can do is just straight up trade for the amber. One thing I am going to do here is trade a fairly large amount of grain because I'm getting flour in return. I don't want to completely give it up. In fact, I'm going to go back to, let's say, 30 of that. Roots I'm using. Could probably go by selling some of the vegetables, though. There we go. So that's gotten us a little more, a little bit more life on the impatience. So pack of crops we're probably going to be able to achieve relatively quickly. We have 2 more glades to clear out as well. So 1 dangerous, and then sort of in the immediate area. We definitely have some that we can work with here, so I'm going to move this woodcutter's camp right away. And 1 here, 1 here. Oh, we're just out of range for that. Fair enough. So what about you guys? I guess you're not really doing anything right now, so let's move them to... Oh wow, I really crammed us in good there. Alright. And for these guys, they should be breaking through here, but... Oh, and we've completed the packs of... Wow, have we ever? Alright. We may not actually have jobs for any of these other people. Oh, nope, we've got jobs in the rain mill. Although for engineering, probably the beavers would have been a better choice. Okay, so we won't bother worrying with either of these. We'll just keep making flour. And we get another building. So, Harpy House, Human House, Scribe, or Herbalist Camp. So, I would say the Harpy or the Human House makes the most sense. Now, one other thing, I'm just noticing the overall satisfaction, and I think the Harpies are going to be easier to keep happy. And that's going to help me boost my resolve. So I'm going to start building Harpy houses, and I need to build 5 of them. Ooh, but they need fabric. Human houses need planks and bricks. So, but I have enough to build 5 Harpy houses anyway. So we're going for it. I don't know if this counts as... I think this counts as being in the hearth, but it's right on the edge. So the hope here is that we're going to be able to push the Harpy resolve to a point where this is going to get me some ticking reputation. Which is good, because right now I can't really... I don't have the tools to be able to... So we've got, sitting on the ground, 1.5, 2, 3, Yeah, so right now we're sitting on 3 reputation. 4 with trailblazing, and then assuming we can get cosmetic. Actually, I should probably build that bathhouse. Maybe we wait till we've... Oh, low on fuel. We're really that low on wood? Maybe we cut back on the planks then? Certainly have no shortage of people chopping wood. Yeah, so coal's obviously the best. Sea marrow if we can find it, but doesn't really seem to have been in the area. Okay, that's another thing for me to panic about. So we'll do the bathhouse after... I want to make sure that all the harpy houses have been built, precisely because we're in a point now we're going to get that ticking resolve for keeping the harpies happy. And the longer I can get those benefits, the happier I will be. And actually I lied. I'm going to build another woodcutter's camp. Because there's every incentive in the world for us, first of all, to chop down as many trees as we can, and then second of all to this is why. Okay, so we're gonna turn off the jerky production. But yeah, so basically, because we've got 9 people available, I figure I want at least 3 chopping down wood. And we can satisfy the bathhouse, so we will do so. Looks like we broke into a glade. There we go. So what's your story? Root deposit, moss broccoli. Yeah, nothing we can really work with. Sounded like a glade? Maybe? No? Oh, okay, so this one does need to be moved. Oh, I can't afford to move it because I don't have the wood. Ah! I don't exactly need more people right now, but I always figure it's not bad to focus on. Oop. Definitely want a couple of humans working this one. That's absolutely insane that we're that short of. I mean, surely they can just like we have to be doing well. Or sorry, we have to be getting the wood from somewhere. We're chopping down everything. Okay, yeah, no, we're back. Okay. So again, I'm a little mad I have to do this, but oh, apparently I can't afford the 5. Still. So the Weaver is the most tempting out of all of these. I may not actually build anything out of it, though. do, however, want to put down another woodcutter's camp. Although we do have fairly comprehensive coverage at this point. Okay, so we need to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more reputation. Part of that is just going to come from keeping the harpies happy for as long as we are. This is where, okay, yes, purging fire. So we're going to turn off the purging fire production. That's exactly why we've been losing. This is engineering. Okay, but it's also farming, so... And our last batch of orders. So this might decide whether or not we win the encounter. It's an expensive delivery or Master of Exploration. Discover 3 glades. Complete any 1 dangerous or for... Okay, so yeah, this is definitely the one that we wanted. This is like kind of the Hail Mary. And there's no possible way we're going to achieve that. But it's also very unlikely we're going to deliver the pack of luxury goods. So I guess this is the more likely of the two. So, in fairness, we've done a pretty good job with these goals. So at this point here, we really just need to chop our way through to as many... So this is the Forbidden, was it? Nope, just Dangerous Glade. So yeah, we're just going to push ahead to as many of these as we possibly can. We'll try not to lose too much for the Harpies. Again, we're in danger of losing a little bit of everybody. The one bit of good news is we do have the Purging Fire, I suppose. How's our... yeah. The fuel's coming back nicely, so... Okay, bit hair-raising, but we're on our way. How are we for tools? Okay, we're at 19 tools. So if I recall correctly, the most expensive ones were best. So 16 for 1, as opposed to... Actually, I want to do the math on this really quick. So if we get 1 divided by 16... By the way, I noticed there hasn't been a lot of chat activity, which is fine, but I want to just double check that that is a result of... I want to make sure that's a result... I want to make sure that that's actually because... people don't feel like talking, and not a result of the way the broadcast is set up. So, okay, just 1 second here. Darn it! I was wondering why that. Okay, so if any of you have been saying something in chat, I have not seen it because it's trying to get me to sign into Twitch now. I feel like a complete amateur for not testing that. So, I still can't see what's being written in chat. I think I have a way of double checking where we were before. But if you feel like I've been ignoring you, please don't take that personally. It's, this is unfortunately Twitch not integrating very well with this tool. So please bear with me a second. I just don't want to say my password out loud. Oh, you scumbags, I already gave you my code. Okay. There we go. That's working. And then one last detail to check. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything missed. If you did have something to say and I missed it, I apologize. Please feel free to just say that again. But it looks like we are in... It looks like I'm actually able to properly read chat now. And I apologize for taking so long to resolve that. So, back to the thing I wanted to do. What I want to try and do right now is figure out what... so basically I need to figure out sort of the reputation per tool that I'm going to gain for each of these expeditions. So for instance, we've got 0.75. Divide that over 12 tools. We've got 0.0625. Now we go to the large abandoned cache. So that's 16 tools for one. 00625, and I'm pretty sure if we take a look at the small numbers, no, that's also a large. There's definitely a tiny one that we had. There we go. 8 for 0.5. And yeah, 0625. So in this case, like, I guess one thing I might want to do would be just to find the way of maximizing the tools. So 8, 16. Okay, so if you've got 19 total, so we definitely couldn't do 24. Yeah, so it's definitely best for me to take the large abandoned cache, assuming I have workers for it. Okay. We're almost at the end, so probably lost a beaver, but maybe not the harpies. Beavers are pretty upset, so yeah, just missed it. So now I gotta find the woodcutter with what, less than 3 workers. I guess we're not really building anything right now, so we don't need to worry as much. Now, where I get the rest of my tools from, I have no idea, but we'll worry about that later. So, being able to clear out glades on its own, that's not going to be a problem. We can move this for free, so we will take advantage of it. Now, maybe we'll hold off on the Forbidden Glade until the very last minute. I will confess I'm a little surprised we haven't broken through to this one yet. So maybe what we do is we'll just clear this part out. get a little bit more focus on our... Oh, these guys aren't doing anything useful. So I'm actually gonna clear this one out in oh. I'm gonna clear this one out on its own. We'll get it in position for future future placement, but I feel like we should probably play to our strengths for the existing... Okay, we got another level just from the Harpy Resolve. Now, the Harpies are getting accustomed to their luxuries, so I'm going to want to sort out Brawling at some point. I'm also curious about Cleanliness. Ah, so yeah, we need the... we need cosmetics. Okay, so there's a few things for me to work with here. Okay, so I'm actually gonna... I'm not gonna worry about trading, first of all. Let's start by... Okay, so I was originally gonna try and bring in more Harpies, but I definitely want to bring in more simple tools. So we'll start with that. Another cornerstone. So we've got rooty ground, strange roots spread across the land. Wood production is increased by 1, but harvesting and planting are 25% slower. Or deserted caravans. Global production is 50% faster, but trading is unavailable. If we do that, then we don't have access to cosmetics. So I'm going to hold... I think I can actually just decline, because as much as I'd like extra wood production, I don't like the idea of... Actually, no. Let's give it a shot. Okay. So, I might have just signed my death warrant with that, by the way, but... So, ideally, I want 24... 32 simple tools. And I currently have 5. So, 27... And I should be willing to trade pretty aggressively for it. God, 62, that's a lot. So the other thing I want to... So I only need 2 ancient tablets as well. So let's go for... 4 of these, 28 here. Wow, okay. Well, that settles it. Maybe we'll toss in some packs of crops. So it looks like I'm going to be able to build something with the plant fiber. Sorry, I just heard an odd noise on my computer, and I'd like to just check a temperature. Clearly, this is the wrong tool for me to be checking. Let's try that again. Okay, that's manageable. So I'm just double checking here. Now again, cosmetics would be ideal, but oh, hang on, infused tool. No, I don't need to worry about infused tools, especially because they are more expensive than simple tools. Oh, really? Over the 1.1? Ugh. Okay. What are some of the other things I can trade? I don't really want to trade wood. I guess I can train some stone. I'm going to do two things with this. So I'm going to get some sea marrow in return. That's going to be my reserve for fuel if it comes down to it. And then if I can sneak in a brick... Nope. So, let's think about what that gets me. So 1.5, so that's 2 more points of reputation, aside from whatever else we're going to achieve by going, so 1, 2, that'll get me my last building, and then I need to get 2 more from somewhere, but we may get that just by keeping the harpies happy. I can guarantee that with cleanliness, which of course would, oh yeah, actually, if we do, Master of Exploration, so I guess after that I really only just need the 1. Okay, we're in good shape then. It's really just a matter of clearing out the glades. So, let's get pretty aggressive. So, my first question now is, where am I at with wood? Okay, we're okay for wood. I've got 2 people working on the large abandoned cache right now. Anybody who's not a beaver, I'm going to press gang into working the... I'm going to press gang them into working the different... abandoned caches. The other thing that's nice too is we get amber for that. So yeah, we work with what we've been given. We're also getting a little short of jerky, so now that we're back, we're kind of back in, I think we're in good shape for setting up jerky, so I'm actually doing well for vegetables as well, so maybe I should make a little bit more grain so we can keep in biscuits. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better about where we're at now. So we are starting to lose some resolve again. That's just a function of the fact that the harpies get used to their comfort. But what we want to do is kind of milk this for as much bonus as we can, because we've got a bunch of people working on these special events. And then the next thing that we're going to need is, as long as we can clear out 3 glades, we've got 1 here. Sounds like we just got another somewhere. Oh, nope, that was us just ticking over to the next building. So there's one other thing that I want to check out here, and I thought... Go under orders, training post, consumption, recipes. Okay, so let's see if we can learn something about... consumable items. Okay, so I guess we don't get to learn... Let's maybe see if the in-game manual has it. Yeah, so we know the existence of... Okay, produced by a cooperage, an alchemist's hut, and an apothecary. So if I had been paying attention more closely, Okay, so let's just take a quick look at the cooperage for the sake of interest. So we need to make pigments. Pigments get made by cookhouses, so I think we actually have one of those. And we can use insects. Okay, it's going to be hard, but I think we can actually pull this off, assuming we get the building. And no, we do not. Biscuits, pie, and pottery. How are you doing, Vanguard Master? So who likes luxury? Do we even have a chance of... I think going all in on the harpies is the way to go, to be honest. But... So yeah, the beavers like luxury, but... Well, okay, so if we give clothing, that's going to keep the humans and the beavers happy. And the harpies should be good at that. So let's go for a clothier. So that gives us a couple things to build, because we also have a weaver. Yeah, I think you were in here a little bit, or I think you were in here to notice it, Vanguard Master, but it turns out that Twitch signed me out of OBS. Okay, so it looks like the harpies are not generating the ticking resolve anymore. Not so good, especially because I don't think we're going to get that back. But I think we have what we need, because again, we're going to get 1.5 from these. Get 2 from this, so 1, 2, and then I just need 1 more, which as long as I get 3 glades in a dangerous glade event, that would seem to me to be enough to finish the job. Now again, this doesn't mean that I'm giving up on ticking resolve. It just means, actually, one thing I can do. Let's give him later treatment. Because if we can push this just over the edge, we don't worry about the glade events anymore. Okay, so as you can see, we've already pushed up our levels, and we still haven't finished the abandoned caches, I don't think. Oh nope, sorry, those are the abandoned caches completing. But again, we get the ticking resolve. So, let's focus on clearing out as many of these scary places as I can. So, we get to move these for free, so I'll clear that. That's a new one for us. So if we can get 8 trade goods... We're in good shape there. In this case, I'm almost abandoning the... There we go. So, what's this going to cost us? 16 resin, which we don't have. But it's either planks or sea marrow. Planks are a little bit easier for us to give up. Can boost global resolve. I think we're just going to do a standard investigation here. Although, again, the ticking resolve from the harpies may be enough. But yeah, so either the ticking resolve from the harpies or the fact that we complete this event will be enough for us to carry the day. So, just so I can show off, we're going to put down roads for the rest of the... the rest of the settlement. Just to show what a good planner I am. This is terrible. Cannot be used as... Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of annoyed with Twitch for that, but that's fine. I think annoyed at Twitch is kind of my default position anyway, so... Which isn't always great, because if you act in such a way that, like, nothing someone does will, you know, make you happy, then there's really no incentive to stop the bad thing that you're doing. So this has been a really interesting experience, right? Like, in this case, we didn't actually need to complete the quest. But this is, like, so we've now raised the difficulty. But what was really interesting about this was that this was another case, and this is actually something that I'm noticing more and more about this game, is that I really feel in this game like I go into the map and, like, I sort of start off confident enough that I'm going to be able to achieve my goal. Like, so, like, I go in and I say, okay, I think I'm going to be able to do this thing here. Because, like, I don't know, like, it just, you know, obviously I'm not going to take on something that I think I'm going to fail at. But it's also true, like, I hit a point in this, in the map, and that was true this time as well, where I'm like, oh man, I really don't know where I'm going to get these extra reputation points from. And yet, clearly by the end, I'm just sort of like, okay, yeah, so I can ignore this bunch of things here, because either I'm going to win performing these actions, or I'm going to completely fall apart, and, you know, but I'm pretty sure we're going to win. And that is such, I feel like, a really hard thing to find in games sometimes. And yet this game does it with a really, like, noticeable regularity. So I use Twilight Struggle as an example a lot, and it actually implies that I play that game a lot more than I really do. But, like, I'm trying to think of how to put this. Like, one of the things that I think is so effective about the way that Twilight Struggle works is that So for those of you who are not familiar with the game, and again, I'm sure there's better examples for this. This is really interesting. I'm getting an encoding overloaded warning. Let me just see if I can work something out here. Oof. So I really should just be messing with some of this stuff on my own time, but... Oh, actually, I think I got this worked out. Okay, could be better, but... Okay, so for those of you not familiar with Twilight Struggle, this is a game that it's set in the Cold War. It's a board game, but there is a digital version of it, which was originally by Playdeck, but Playdeck is now owned by Asmodee. For those of you not familiar with Asmodee, they're now owned by the Embracer Group, which basically owns everything, formerly known as THQ Nordic. Actually, I think formerly known as Nordic Games at that point. Anyways, interesting company, which is probably going to be divesting a bunch of stuff soon. I think they also own Lord of the Rings. So I really mean it when I say they have like a bit of everything. But what's interesting about Twilight Struggle is that it's a card-based game. I think it took its inspiration from another tabletop game. Yeah, it's neat. There's the problem with that though is that like your major markets are not going to be Canada for that. Your major markets are going to be all the other countries with like longer copyright laws. But yeah, anyways, the basically the game takes place in the Cold War. One side plays the Soviet Union, the other side plays the United States, and it's a card-driven game. So essentially, there will be a number of events that are written on these cards, and they have a certain value to play. So like you can get a certain number of resource points to sort of dedicate towards a certain action. One of the neat things about the card system is that if it is one of your events, you can choose to play it for the event, or you can choose to play it for the points. And then if you play it as an event, I think it depends on the card, but I think it goes either out of the deck if it's a certain type of card, or it gets shuffled back in if it's another type. But in the case of enemy events, so if you're the American player and you get a Soviet event, you can play the card for points, but it's guaranteed that the event will trigger. And so one of the first reactions you get when you play a game like Twilight Struggle is, oh my god, I've got a handful of my enemy's events. I have no idea what to do with this. I'm about to lose. But what's great about that is your opponent is thinking the exact same thing. And there's a lot more going on behind that game. But one of the things that really got my attention about this game over kind of reading about it and sort of studying a bit about what's going on. One of the things that I think is so interesting is that you've got a Cold War game in which there is just pure paranoia about what the other side has got and how, you're just convinced that the other side is about to run away with it. And I'm thinking, like, if you're trying to make a game about the Cold War, it would seem to me that that's probably the feelings that you want your players to be, to be feeling. So I don't know. I was definitely intrigued, and I think it's a really neat way of approaching game design. I mean, it used to be like number one on Board Game Geek for the longest time. But the reason why I highlight that is just because I'm thinking about Against the Storm, where again you're sort of this. The viceroy, you're responsible for setting up this new settlement, and you are I mean, it's a game that just definitely appeals to my Canadian sensibilities, right? You're going out into the frontier, and you need to sort of make your peace with nature and the danger that's living there. But just the fact that this game has so consistently made me feel like it's hopeless, that there's no possibility that I'm going to be able to get through it, but that it doesn't translate into me giving up, that the consequence is me feeling like, well, let's give it a try. Let's see how close I can get to the ending. And then in the end, of course, pushing through sort of takes us to a win. I'm just really intrigued at how consistently the game gives that feeling. Again, I'm not a designer, so I don't really have the proper grammar for being able to describe exactly how this game achieves it, and yet it's something that I've so consistently felt each time I've played this that I sort of feel like I need to comment on it. Anyways, settlement complete. The village's position has been secured. You can now choose to leave or continue to play on this map, but any additional deeds won't be completed, and you will not earn any more experience points or Citadel resources. So I kind of like this option. I mean, it would be nice if you could sort of like run up the score a bit, but in this case here, this is really just saying like, we're not going to force you to go away from this nice little settlement that you've built, but obviously you're not going to be able to like get more stuff. So score 1,231 with a bonus to the difficulty multiplier. Win 150 points, reputation 420, 13 impatience left, so 390. We're almost as low as we could get on the impatience, I think. 7 orders completed, 8 regular events completed, 2 dangerous events completed. Dangerous events seem to be worth a lot, so I'm probably undervaluing those. But on the other hand, the game at the start did recommend that I not go after them too aggressively. Kind Soul, 75, Just in Time, 45, Town, 15, and Entrepreneur, 30. So we'll go... Oh, and completed deeds, First Steps, Discovery 2, Coral Forest, and a real challenge. I'm sure we will see those when we go back to the main menu. So, back to the world map. So, these are all my places. We're going to go back to the Smoldering City so I can buy some of my goodies. Okay, First Steps, win 3 games. Click to complete. We get 50 experience points, so that'll bring us over the edge. So new citadel upgrade. We've got artisans, a press, a monastery. Sother the Ancient. He may have luxury items, crafting materials, blueprints for alchemical buildings, and perks for sale. He is willing to buy packs of goods, fuel, cooked food, and luxury goods. Exploration expedition. You took some of the best explorers from the Smoldering City with you. Get a constant -5 penalty to global resolve, but plus 15 to global resolve for every 5 minutes. For 5 minutes every time a new glade is discovered. Ooh, that's an interesting one. And frequent caravans. The constant flow of goods keeps your villagers distracted. Boosts global resolve by 3 for 60 seconds every time you finish a trade route. Okay. Moving on, Discovery 2, discover 30 glades. Coral Forest, win a game on the Coral Forest biome. I got an achievement for that. And win a game on veteran difficulty or higher, and we get a pipe ending for that. Even the most rudimentary encampment needs distractions. Decorations are used to advance hubs. And that gave me a Steam achievement as well. So collect 10 reputation points through Villager Resolve. Win a game near the Ruined Settlement modifier. Marshlands. Okay, Marshlands is the obvious place for me to go next. Complete 30 orders, 25 reputation points through Villager Resolve. This will be an interesting one to see whether or not we can actually complete it. Yeah, some of these are going to be a little harder to do than the others, but... Okay, on to upgrades. So, one of my limitations here is going to be the artifacts. But we do have a fair amount of food to work with now, so... What do we get here? Obsidian Archive level, we can decrease the rate at which the Queen's Impatience grows. We can get an additional embarkation point, as well as bonus towards speed. Permanent +2 boost to global production speed in your settlement. And then improved trader speed. Well, let's go... So if I do 3 of these, this will actually take up my 72, and I won't be able to go any higher. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. This is just basically giving me options. So in future, the decisions I'm going to need to make are between improving walking speed with embarkation bonus, reducing the rate at which the Queen's Impatience is growing, and then I can sort of double down on a few of my other benefits. So, trader arrival speed, embarkation range improvements. Yeah, there's a few. I have a feeling I'm not really going to be able to max this out. As you can see, there's quite a bit for us to advance. Okay. I think that's all we're going to be able to achieve here. And we can take a look. So you can see that this seems to be one of my longer runs. So from between, like, the second village was the one that was probably the shortest for me to work with. Now, I think it's fair to say this is probably going to be the next place that I go to because of the marshlands. We've already done the Royal Woodlands, so there isn't quite the same appeal. And obviously one thing I'm trying to avoid are these cases where I'm overlapping with existing settlements. Of course, the drawback is because I'm sort of hugging the smoldering city, the catch is that I'm not really exploring any of these question marks. But I think in this case, doubling down on the food that I'm able to gain, I don't know, for me is probably the more appealing of the two. So in any case, I definitely want to try and take the marshlands. We'll also probably be able to see at least this question mark after I settle the area. The catch is that I don't think I have enough time to be able to finish. Like, I don't know about starting one run and then sort of jumping out on the other side. I sort of feel like that may not be, I don't know, like if I feel like it's probably better for me to just start fresh on a new settlement rather than trying to duplicate the effort. So I'm trying to think about what else I can do for the, because I only have like 45 minutes left, and it'd be a bit of a shame to end. But I feel like there are other things that I can do for the evening rather than just sort of do a partial run through a city. Because I do need to be a little more disciplined in terms of when I finish tonight. So let me just take a quick second here and see if I can find something in my library. Unless anybody has something in particular they'd like to see. The thing is, I actually limited the number of things that I put on this PC to, one, to kind of save space, but number two, just to be a little more disciplined in finishing stuff. So for Steam games, I put down Industries of Titan, Phantom Brigade, Godless, Imperiums, Terra Invicta, Old World, Cultist Simulator, a couple that I'm not going to say, Against the Storm, Troy, Warhammer 3. Okay, so I guess there's Total War, if people are interested in seeing that. Phoenix Point, Civilization 6, TIS 100, Chaos Reborn, Divinity Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, Borderlands 2, Sinking City, Warhammer 40k Battle Sector, 2 Point Hospital, Anno, and Command and Conquer. None of those really seem like the sort of thing that you'd... Well, I don't know. There seemed to be some taste for Total War. Yes, I did put Divinity Original Sin. I'm unfortunately playing on that, what is it, Tactician difficulty? It's really hard. So I'm just looking at some of the other options that I've got here. This is a drawback. I don't have a lot of things that are good for 45 minutes. Well, I've got Warhammer 3 and Troy on this computer right now. I'll tell you what. Let's. I think we're gonna call it for Against the Storm tonight. Again, not for any dislike of the game. It's just I don't think with the time that I have left, I'm gonna be able to. I think I'm gonna be able to get that far through a level. But let's do some Troy. For those of you who are just here for Against the Storm, I'll probably do that on Friday again. But I think tonight I'm going to spend a little bit of time in something that people seemed to enjoy, but I didn't exactly spend a whole lot of time in. Also, it's yeah, I don't have PlanetSide 2 installed. Also, I have no idea what's going on with the resolution here. This will also be a fun little test for the
So it has come to this.
the processor.
Good men, torn from their kin.
Ah, you could have got it for free on Epic.
Spill the blood of other men's foes. But we will not be forgotten. Our deeds shall be known, even
first
when
came
our
out.
bones are dust scattered on the wind.
So yeah, when the game was first released,
And our names will inspire the mighty to rise.
it was like 24 for the first 24 hours. It was given away. All right, I should have all of this. Oh wow, they're not taking any of this stuff that I knew before. Do I not have my old saves? Oh wow! I thought they had cloud saves. All right, well. So the tutorial is Agamemnon, and I actually started off with that. One of the things that's so tricky with a game like this is there's so many interesting characters. So I quite like Diomedes, but I guess I did do him the last time that I played this. I know Brad Pitt really doesn't like it. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. I don't think it was particularly bad, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what it added. Like, Benioff obviously went on to do, Game of Thrones. It seems like everybody attached to that project either was a very good individual, like, Wolfgang Peterson, talented director. Writer would go on to be showrunner of Game of Thrones, among other properties. Brian Cox, played Agamemnon. It's hard to say exactly what the component was to. Actually, I think Peter O'Toole said that he thought it sucked. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that strong of an opinion on it, which feels bad because, you'd think a story like the Iliad would maybe inspire something a little stronger. But yeah, I don't know. I like playing Diomedes a lot. But I also sort of feel like from that introduction I should be Achilles. So, swift-footed Achilles, legendary hero of the Iliad and leader of the Myrmidons, is the mightiest warrior the world has ever known.
War is my life.
So one thing I do like about how they do this game, each of the heroes has something kind of unique about them. So in the case of Achilles, you've got Living Legend. Being Living Legend increases influence and reduces faction-wide unit upkeep. Other challenger heroes will arise, and the people may doubt your greatness and defeat them in battle or persuade them to acknowledge you. But the one that probably is more memorable is Hot-Blooded Achilles. Your emotions control you and affect your entire faction. Outraged, stronger armies but reduced economy efficiency. Grieving, increased divine favor and experience gained for units but reduced faction-wide happiness. And Indignant, increased economic efficiency and happiness but reduced likelihood of diplomatic deals and influence. So much like the character in the Iliad, Achilles is definitely very emotional, and there are actually mechanics in the game to recognize that. Incidentally, I'm playing the Truth Behind the Myth. I do have Mythos, but I actually quite like the way that they did Truth Behind the Myth. I feel like that when this game first came out, it did not get enough credit for what it was doing. And it definitely feels like people I think Warhammer has more or less given everyone a taste for mythological units. So, anyways, recommended playstyle: Achilles' roster is focused on great speed and maneuverability as well as versatility in battle and has the largest number of faction-unique units. Hero, swift-footed Achilles, legendary hero of the Iliad, was the mightiest warrior the world has ever known. His seeming invincibility in combat was the subject of myth and conjecture. Legend claims that his mother, the sea goddess Thetis, granted him invulnerability as an infant by dropping him headfirst into the waters of the Styx. Such was his might that no other man could lift his massive spear of Pelian ash. Achilles was the leader of the Myrmidons, an elite fighting force from Theia said to have been created by Zeus himself from a colony of ants. Fiercely loyal, they fought with ferocity and overcame unsurmountable odds through sheer, unflinching determination. While Achilles' mere presence was often enough to turn the tide of battle, the Thean champion was prone to great unpredictable mood swings that could either shake or bolster the resolve of the entire Achaean host. Son of Peleus and Thetis, +4 melee attack for all units when attacking, and -5% morale for all enemy units.
Are we mere playthings of the gods?
Oh, I should check my settings.
Or do we plead divine influence to justify our foolish choices?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife! You've risked the safety of Troy.
Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you.
Brother, I can fight! Go, seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
I think your question is the Iliad or the Odyssey, but I've only ever read the Iliad.
Was a grave wound to Achaean pride. King Menelaus will have his revenge. And his brother will have
I
his
didn't know there was a
war with
movie, The
Troy,
Odyssey.
just as the gods intended.
Achilles, son of Peleus, stands in sunlit Theia. He has fiercely loyal Myrmidons ready to follow him to Hades and back. Yeah, I wasn't aware that they'd adapted. I mean, I know they've done adaptations of the Odyssey in, like, you know, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou and stuff like that, but...
Oh, swift-footed Achilles, there is only one response to Queen Helen's abduction, and that is war.
Brother, your foolish passion has doomed us.
King Agamemnon of high-walled Mycenae must avenge this insult to his brother. You are the ultimate warrior, king of Theia, and commander of the Myrmidons.
Glory in battle is my God-given fate.
Your ally, King Lycomedes, rules the Isle of Skyros. As a boy, you were sheltered in Lycomedes' court on your father's command. Now you must protect the old king in turn. Heed both threats from enemies like the Elopians and opportunities that come your way through friends such as prosperous King Oeleus and his son Ajax the Lesser. The independent Thessalians could be a bulwark for your western flank. Keep your courage, lion-hearted Achilles, for you know well that fortune favors the bold.
It feels like there was a bunch of stuttering in that, which is weird because that's definitely not on my computer. But let me just take a second here. All right, Thea, hot-blooded Achilles. Achilles is governed by his powerful emotions. Changes in his circumstances can bring about mood swings that affect his entire faction. The muses sing not only of his rage, but of his pride, indignance, and grief as well. Achilles always strives to be acknowledged as a legendary warrior and seeks recognition of challengers to his claim in a mock duel or even a real bloody battle. Of course, as long as he remains the most glorious, his subjects will be happy and follow him to the very end.
The enemy sends their warriors against you to ravage your lands and sack your cities, but perhaps they underestimate your strength. March out, engage them in battle, and put them to flight.
Defeat an army belonging to the following faction in battle, the Elopians. The treacherous Elopians have advanced with their forces, which now threaten your lands and the livelihood of your people. March out with your army and defeat them in battle. Armies are used to defend home cities and to attack enemy cities and armies. Armies may be selected by left-clicking, right-click to move or attack with a selected army. Okay, I'm going to take a quick second here and see if there's any settings that I can adjust. Probably not, but... Interesting. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time messing around with this stuff. What I do want to do, though, is make sure that my graphics set... Holy crap! Nope, 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 nope. Well, that's not right. I guess I can see what recommended is. I don't know, let's see if I just crank everything up, whether or not that causes too many problems. Okay, we'll see how the battle goes. So, usually the way that these, I tend to find, at least the Total War games that I've played, tend to give you a really obvious battle to fight first. So what I usually do with Achilles is I fight the Elopians. This might actually be the only battle that I can pull off. But fight the Elopians, then move back into my home province to recruit more units. Let's see whether or not I can live up to the legend of my character. Okay, so I mean, if I wanted, I could go for the decisive victory, but it seems like I would lose the young spears as a result. So one thing I do try to do when I play a game like this feels weird in terms of these colorings. I thought I played this before. Anyways, neither here nor there. So basically, what I try to do when I gain an understanding of a game like this is I'll look at the units and just try and kind of pencil out for myself, like, what's kind of the rock, paper, scissor game, I guess, that I'm playing. So for instance, here we've got the skirmisher archers, so I'm going to want to kind of try and close in close and close on Antiphates. Light swordsmen are probably the most, well, actually probably the light swordsman and the spearman. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with these graphics. These are probably the two units that I want to be careful about. So light swordsmen are good flankers. The swordsmen have slightly better armor. Spearmen have the better morale. Swordsmen are faster. And do more damage. Okay, so the spearmen seem to have bonuses large, axemen, and swordsmen. So if I can engage these guys with spears. I want to lock down the light swordsmen where I can. And then the two-handed spear infantry is not as big of a worry. In fact, ideally I'll throw missiles at them. But my missile unit is javelins. So first of all, they are shorter range. And then second of all, they're really designed more for armor piercing. So it might be better for me to throw them at the... I guess actually they'd probably be best against the spear and shield infantry. Although I am going to have to worry a little bit about the Achaean slingers. So... I guess the last thing I'd say, so bonuses versus spearmen, bonuses against spearmen, I don't think we have. Okay, so these are my flankers, these are my front line. Okay, I think I have a rough idea about how I'm going to set this up. Again, like, I don't need to really overthink this, right? The game has said that I have an unreasonably good advantage. But I do think it's helpful to think a little bit about how you're doing this stuff. Also, let me just remind you how beautiful this game is.
Your warriors stand ready to serve. They only await your orders.
Okay, so let's get my front line. That's not right.
Fear me. That works. Awaiting orders. Spears.
Okay, what are we up against? So one thing I want to keep an eye on is where the ranged units are, and I think one thing that would be good is for me to put a pretty heavy presence on the left-hand side. So this is because we're going to have more tree coverage, and then I can sort of sweep around the edge. Now we are going to be going up a hill, which puts me at a small disadvantage, but I think running through the forest is still a good place to be. So we're going to group this all together. And there's really no advantage to us
Your heroes all have their own unique skills
running.
and advantages. Pay close regard to these attributes and let them stoke their rage, ready to unleash their abilities on the enemy.
So speed things up again. There's I'm just kind of preserving my army's fatigue doing this. And basically the big thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to have this sort of front run up here. If nothing else, hopefully they'll just scare off the Achaean slingers. And then the idea here is that while we've disrupted the units that can be causing me some trouble to my actually my javelins have shields, but these flankers here, like the idea is that we lock them down here ideally. And then, in fact, the
Be
ideal...
wary, for the enemy may have concealed themselves amongst the trees. Keep your wits about you.
Ready to serve. Achilles.
I'm effectively going to ignore these guys. What I really want to do is
Death comes from above, like the arrow.
Sons of Achaea, forward march!
The foe has sighted your hidden units.
Let's see blood! Let's get to it!
Okay, so now we can afford to just sort of slow down a little bit.
Let's see blood! Javelins! No mercy! Go at them! Swords! Let's do this! Yes! Good! Expect pay! I shall! Now you die! Sons of Achaea! For glory! Kill! Forward we go! You don't stand in charge! Move up!
See the enemy break. Your hero is under attack.
You're dead! Spears! Sons of Achaea! Wipe them out! To glory! Glory! Don't hold back! Foes beware! Ready to serve!
So the aim here now is going to be to kill as many of these units as possible. I don't think we have a lot of hope with these. I think we have a lot of hope with these slingers, but everybody else we should be able to mop up.
Massacre them! Sons of Achaea! At your command! Awaiting orders! Javelins hurled!
So the big question is just going to be how many people we lost in order to achieve that.
Cool than an insult!
Looks like Achilles was the one that kind of got the worst of it.
Hungry for glory! Wipe them out! Wipe them out!
There's no point in getting these spear units to chase these guys down. The question is, where else are they going to go? Well, maybe these.
No one will miss you.
Oh, wow. That just wiped them out.
Hades has claimed the enemy
Okay,
hero.
good news there.
No mercy!
So one thing that is kind of neat, if you look at the... So you get to see the blood stain the wheat as well. Wow, those things are
Trained and ready!
devastating.
It's looming! The men are fleeing battle! Spears!
I think you've caught up with them, guys. Yeah, so pretty much everything else is wiped out.
Javelins!
This may cause some friendly fire, but
Sons of Achaea!
there we go. Decisive victory. You were victorious. The corpses of the enemy litter the ground, and those still able to flee do so with the laughter of our gods ringing in their ears. So 5 losses and completely wiped out the enemy. So good spot to be. Again, it is kind of the tutorial battle. Like, there is a formal tutorial battle, but this is definitely the sort of thing that you want early on. So Lives as Barter will give me, in this case, gold doesn't quite mean what it does in other games. Usually you'll fund your army through food. So if I want, I can boost my treasury, spill their blood for extra morale, or take them on to replenish the lost units. In this case, I think we'll just go for the extra. We'll go for the extra food.
My might only grows.
This is actually a big thing in the Iliad, the story, is that for the extended, the period before the events of the story, there'd sort of been this whole system of, like, Troy was really wealthy, so there'd be, you know, hostages taken, and that's like one of the ways that the Greeks would feel okay about being gone for so long is that they had the opportunities for plunder, and I think the events of the book sort of mark this really grim turning point in the war where
reward, they're just desserts.
where people are becoming quite a bit more vicious in terms of their actions, and all of a sudden this idea, like especially after when you have the events of the story, particularly Achilles and Hector, and the idea of not even necessarily returning a body to people. There's definitely a big turn in the way that people are engaging. In fact, an analogy that you might draw if you read the Iliad and the way that people behave at the start of the war versus the end might be to compare the First World War, the Great War, and the idea that early on you have these stories of things like the Christmas truce, but by the end of the war, you don't have those stories. That sort of it's starting to settle in how terrible this thing is, and people are maybe not quite as willing
As it should be.
to make the special arrangements. Anyways, we've completed the objective, so we get a bit of food and bronze. The treacherous Elapians have advanced. Oh, hang on. This is just a description again.
New recruits can be trained to build up your forces and replace warriors lost in battle. This will be a long war, and your adversaries gather in strength. You would be wise to look to your own armies in response.
Muster the troops, maintain 12 units total. The number of men you command will need to grow in order to meet the challenges ahead. Recruit more combat units to swell the ranks of your armies. Units may be recruited by selecting a controlled army and clicking on the recruit unit button. Now, one of the drawbacks here, if I try and
Achilles
recruit,
the champion.
I don't own this territory. So what I need
For
to do
glory.
is cross the border back to my own territory.
Make tracks.
So first of all, Achilles will heal, but this also gives me the opportunity to do some recruitment. I've got 3 recruitment slots.
Proof of my greatness.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring at least
I'll
one
deal with
slinger unit in. And I think that does make sense to sort of reinforce my front. So I think we're going to add a couple spearmen as well. I do tend to like the young spears quite a bit. I tend to run around with them a lot. It's a tough call between either the young spears or the militia. The militia don't really have the morale, and they're not really all that good in terms of damage by comparison. Like these ones are kind of able to absorb ranged fire where the young spears are not. But what I tend to try and do is just have my armored people take the range damage. In any case, we're going to build up the army. We can't quite get to 12, but we'll get close. And, okay, so we've got Frenzy or Blood of Heracles. Frenzy will reduce my stamina for better weapon damage, or Blood of Heracles provides rage when activated. Yeah, I think we'll go for the simpler one. Alright, unresolved notifications, we can do a royal decree, and we can construct in our capital, so... we do need stone. Alternatively, I can make recruitment costs lower, but that's going to take 7 turns, so I'm probably going to have my army ready by then. So let's go for the stone,
Victory with
particularly if I look at the map. So we're right now at war with the Elapians, so that's going to get me food. There actually aren't a lot of places for me to get stone in the area. The best we can do is if we were to go to Dolopia. Apparently I'm supposed to keep Lycomedes safe, so I guess I can't betray them there. But yeah, stone is scarce. I guess the other thing that I want to think about would be taking a look at my Pherae. So, at some point I'm going to want to go to war with these guys. Let's just see what the diplomatic situation looks like. So the reason why I want to do that is just to be able to claim my home province.
Relations with foreign powers may be managed through diplomacy. Broker treaties of trade, alliance, war, and peace to either provoke or placate your fellow rulers. Always be aware that others may view your negotiations as a threat or an opportunity.
Okay, so what's the deal with... what faction is this? Magnetes. How do they work? So we're actually currently in a non-aggression pact with them. Interesting. So, how do they feel about me? Neither one way or the other, really. So...
I hope Achilles will be reasonable.
If I just break... I don't know. Ah. So I need to wait 10 turns. Well, that... I wonder if what they're just trying to do here is set me up to sort of break my word to begin with. There are other places for me to... there's other places for me to go, though. Like, I can finish off the Elapians. Maybe at that point we'll want to make a move on Amnetes. Like, I don't need to engage... I don't need to take on a whole lot more war. There is going to be a little bit of a worry, I think, in the fact that there's a lot of different places to invade me along these lines. So... if I do wind up taking all of this area, I'm going to have to make nice with 1, 2, 3, 4... like 5 or 6 different factions to make sure that my borders are safe. I don't know, we can worry about that later. Finally, we can build something in Alos, possibly. Probably want to focus on the resource I can get, which is wood. So we'll build the loggers' tents. Now, normally what I want to do... So there's a couple options that I get. So if we go for Apprentice Fletcher, it says my influence goes down. If I go for the Craftsman Hunt, happiness goes down. And Woodcutter's Log, which will reduce growth. So the one that doesn't have a negative effect is actually the Woodworker, but that has a stone requirement. So I'm going to leave that be.
As it should be.
And as for the rest, I think we just leave it on its own.
Brute strength alone will not win this war. Issue a decree ordering your finest minds to research new methods of warfare, lest others overtake you.
So we've already worked on that. Your people are eager to follow your orders, for it is through your wisdom that they will flourish. Issue a royal decree, and they will be put to work. Although it did occur to me that I probably should have worked on Divine Will. So this does not have direct divine intervention. That is for the... that's for the... excuse me, for the Mythos... the Mythos... what am I trying to say? The Mythos expansion. But you can choose a deity. You can sacrifice. I don't know if I think I've heard people say Hecatombe. I always thought it was Hecatomb. But anyways, you can sacrifice a bunch of cows or bulls. And in this case, basically moving the cult level up will improve diplomatic relations, and it will improve the effect of organized games. Celebrated will improve growth. Now, I can also do a prayer, which will boost growth and happiness, but the prayer has a gold cost, so I'm really only going to be able to do that once. The other alternative is I can just kind of take a look at the different, the other alternatives. So military service will improve missile damage and armor-piercing missile. So in that case, that's maybe not so good. 20% for club units for Zeus. Also better javelins. Ares, better recruitment capacity. So this is actually probably if I had sacrificed the Hecatomb to Ares, I would have been able to get my recruitment goal. bonus morale to sword and axe units. Apollo will boost the rank of priestesses and reduce the construction cost of all temple buildings. Athena, better morale for spear units and lower fatigue for defense, though. Poseidon will improve sea range and enemy siege holder. I like this one because there's a lot of sacrifices to Poseidon before before journeys, so that feels right. Artemis will boost the rank of spies and better ammunition, and Hephaestus will reduce construction costs of production buildings, bonus gold production, and bonus bronze production, which again I don't currently have, but it's the sort of thing that might be good for a long-term bonus. So I kind of like Aphrodite because you can put the effort in to try and move her up to celebrated and gain the growth improvement. I think I'm going to work on that, although it's not something that I'll get immediately, right? I'm going to have to work on that over time. So, moving on. As much as I'd like to do more recruitment, we want to work on the Elopians.
It's hard and fast.
So we could try and overwhelm them at the walls, or we can try and knock down the doors. I think... I think I'm going to try and do this without siege equipment, which feels a little weird, but... And I think I have an idea of how to make this happen. Now, as much as I would love to do a battle in this environment, this will not help my fatigue, so I'm going to wait it out. Fog would be best, but it's hard to wait for something like that. So we'll start the deployment. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to take my big... I'm going to take some of my bruisers and I'm going to put them up front like this. Excuse me. So what I really want to focus on are gates. Preferably gates which don't have a lot of... towers. Now, there's only one, there's basically only one unit with, ranged units with them. Let's bring these guys along. So there is the danger of some folks who don't have, move them up in the middle.
Let's do this. I shall.
So basically what we're going to try and do here is I'm going to use... I'm going to basically just charge them in, and I'm going to sort of force them to take their smaller army and try and defend it on 2 points. Because if it doesn't work out that way, and actually you can see there's some more towers over here, so I'm just going to shift them up to this point. It'd be sort of nice if I could get some kind of cover, but that's not really an option here. So in this case, we're just going to have to run past the defenses. So, okay, renowned slingers are up there. So I'm actually going to get the swordsman to run up at that point. So these guys are armored, so armored piercing makes a little more sense. And I'm going to let these guys walk it when the time comes. These guys have a lot less to fear. In this case, we just want to get them on the walls as soon as possible, so... It's always nice, if you're ever confused as to the ability for a unit, they're facing the wrong way, aren't they? Oops. But you can hold down space. Oh, interesting. So these guys are apparently a bit of a challenge for them. That is very interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna work with it, but this might make life pretty interesting.
Spears! Move up!
Seek out important enemy sites.
I think at this point we just say every man for himself and just get on those walls. That's pretty devastating already.
Your ladders have a foothold on their walls.
For the Achaeans!
Wasn't expecting to see these guys, so let's get the clubs to
To glory!
work on that.
Awaiting orders! Let's see blood!
Certain locations are key to victory. To control such places, your warriors must remain nearby for a fixed time, seeing off all attackers. Succeed, and the battle is yours.
Massacre them!
So I'm hoping that the sheer
foe has
volume
sighted your hidden units.
of our units is going to be able to push this in our favor.
Strike hard! Pause! Natural command!
You are about to capture the gates.
Sons of Achaea! Fear me!
You have captured the enemy tower.
Spear!
Okay, that was unexpected, but let's just get everybody to pile on here. Now, one of the options that I have, now that we've captured the gates, would be we run our own guys back and move them in through here. That doesn't really seem to be all that intelligent of a choice. So I'm just going to get everybody to pile in on this spear unit. And I also want to move these slingers out of the range of the fort tower.
Sons of Achaea! Foes beware!
So I'll
You have
confess,
captured the gates.
one disappointment I've had is at the performance of these guys. They are taking out the islanders, but we're kind of sitting ducks. You can see we've just taken so much damage from these slingers here. I feel like we should... Actually, let's get these guys to try and tie up those slingers.
The heart of the city is within reach. Press forward. Capture it, and the city will fall to you. Your warriors are losing heart.
Yeah. That was a really valuable unit that I just threw away.
For shame, your warriors' courage has failed them. They run from the battle like frightened children. Round them up and send them back into the field.
Slings prepare! To glory! Come on!
By Ares, your warriors are rallying.
Spears! This will be your final fight. Beware! I'm not here to Galloway's prepare! Strike hard! Massacre them! Spear! No mercy! Let's see blood! Don't hold back!
So these guys are in trouble. Let's just try and pull them back. I don't mind
Your warriors are attacking the
moving them
gates.
out around.
On the move! Break a sweat! I've heard enough! Hungry for glory!
This is so disappointing to see. Also, what on earth are you guys doing?
For the Achaeans! Strike hard! Board ready! And the bear! Spears! Awaiting orders!
So yeah, I probably should have just waited for the siege equipment, because we're going to be waiting to recover from
Death
We're going to be waiting to recover from this battle anyway.
Destroy them! Destroy the foe!
The enemy attacks the gates.
You should be honored, I came
Awaiting
to kill
orders.
you. Are you done talking? Combat ready? Wipe them out! Foes beware!
The enemy chose their leader poorly. See them run from battle with the laughter of the gods ringing in their ears.
Alright, that should be it. But that was a costly battle. Cadmean victory. The enemy has cost you dearly. Do you even deserve to call it a victory? Well, I need to be responsible for my choices. So yeah, 300. We lost half of our units trying to take that. Now, if I want to recover my units, one of the things I could do is loot and occupy, but in this case it's just going to be... yeah, I think we're just going to do a standard occupy, and then I will make it up with recruitment. Yes, that's exactly why they... that's exactly why they chose the term that they did. Okay, I think for this one I'm going to do 2 young spears, and then I'm going to grab a militia. In this case, I just want as many bodies as I can to sort of throw against the enemy. Now, the good news is that there's really only one other place that they control, and that's not defended by walls. So, you know, again, would it have been better for me to create a battering ram, you know, wait the one turn? Probably, I don't know. But I also don't need to worry too much about getting more people. The real question is going to be, do I want to try and take Chalkis, or do I try and move on Thessaly afterwards? And I genuinely don't know what the answer to that is, by the way. But for now, I did use up my remaining time, so I'm going to save that, even though this isn't the most inspiring start for Thea. But we are at the end of our 3 hours, and I actually have a lot of work that I need to get through. So I hope this was a fun little diversion off of Against the Storm. If you want to see more Troy, I'm happy to add that to the rotation at some point, but I do need to work it out at some point. Maybe Warhammer would be more interesting. The only thing is, I find it a little bit more difficult for me to talk about my strategies while playing Total War, because it's real time. But I don't know. I can work on that. I can work on that later. But yeah, if you're here for Against the Storm, thank you for hanging out with me. I will be playing that with on Friday, most likely. And again, the aim on this one, the only reason I didn't play it for the rest of the evening was that I knew 45 minutes wouldn't be enough for me to finish one of the maps, and I'd really like to concentrate if I'm going to be playing on the higher difficulties, which I think I can probably afford to do now. As for the rest of the week, my computer upgrades are done. I think most of the interruptions are finished. So again, if there's anything in terms of game to voice volume, or if there's any quality problems with the stream, definitely let me know, because most of my settings crossed over, but not all. But otherwise, Wednesday we're going to be back. I will probably play Godless on Wednesday. Maybe Industries of Titan, and Phantom Brigade has gotten an update that I want to touch, but I feel like I should be doing Godless at some point for Brace Yourself Games. And then Friday, again, likely Against the Storm. I'll try and keep that as an open option. But if you were here for Terra Invicta, that's not going away. In this case, I just wanted to sort of change things up a little bit because I didn't have a chance to do Against the Storm for the last couple of Fridays because of all the computer madness. But most of that is in the rear view mirror now. I just need to, I don't know, I just need to kind of sort out my life, to be honest. But let's see if I can find someone to host tonight. I don't think there's much in the way of viewership tonight, so let's host the Wolf Arok. So he's currently playing MotoGP. He's a retro streamer. He's been having a little bit of a tough time with his... he's been doing this Xbox challenge where he sort of runs through all of his Xbox games. And I know he's been having a little bit of trouble with some of the games, just, you know, because they have some older, they have sort of some older kind of mechanics and style. So I don't know, basically just a few more sharp corners to bump into that maybe we don't take for granted. We take for granted that those sorts of things are resolved. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words today. So in any case, he's a nice streamer. He's someone who I want to try and show a little bit of support for. But also just, you know, it's a quieter stream tonight, so I figured that's a nice little way that we can pass it on. So thank you everybody for watching. I will see some of you Wednesday for some Brace Yourself games. Otherwise, see you next week for those of you who are here for Terra Invicta, or Friday for those of you who want Against the Storm, unless, you know, some other things come up and we need to change it up. But that's the plan for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.